Welcome to Beacon of Speech. I'm Fred Hunt. That's Ted Coley. Hi, Ted Coley.
Hi, Fred.
We are back at Fred's house, and you can tell you'll hear lots of distractions at about the 20-minute mark. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
What is Beacon of Speech? We sell freedom of speech to everybody. And we are even going to sell freedom of speech to the Russians today. Boo the Russians, right? The Russians are our evil enemies according to basically the whole media. Would you say that's fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like the Russians. Okay? And again, Putin is not... I'm looking in the thing, and I can see pizza stains from dinner. So I'm sorry about that. Putin, no matter what you say about him, Putin is not Stalin. Okay?
Yes.
Putin is not Stalin. Putin is not Lenin. Okay? I'm sure he's...
That's a low bar.
Yeah, low bar. I'm sure he's killed a few people, but not as many as Stalin and Lenin. I mean, you gotta, take historical comparisons.
So his defense is, at least I'm not those guys.
Yeah, at least I'm not Stalin. I ain't killed 20 million. I haven't starved my own people. Okay? And why are we talking about Putin and Donald Trump today?
I don't know.
The Democrat Party is suing. You ready for this? They're suing, let me see if I got it right, WikiLeaks, right? They're suing the Russian government, and they're suing Donald Trump, saying the three of them colluded to...
Who's the Democrat Party?
Yeah, the Democrat Party is suing WikiLeaks, Russia, which I don't know how you can sue Russia, right? But the Democrat Party is suing Russia, WikiLeaks, and Donald Trump, saying they colluded to do something to the elections, whatever, right? My problem is, and I've said this right from the start, I'm sure Russia had something to do with the elections. I'm 100% sure of it. Well, why aren't I screaming, damn Russians, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as Russia had to do with the elections for Donald Trump is how much the Chinese had to do with the elections for Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
It is literally, you had two choices. I wrote an article about it for Beacon of Speech last year. You could either vote for the Russians and Trump or the Chinese and Clinton. There was nobody who was untainted from foreign powers, except
Gary
for
Johnson.
Gary Johnson, who I voted
waiting for it.
Yeah, see, you already knew where we were going.
As pure as the wind-driven snow.
Yes, but Gary Johnson didn't even know what all the cities in Syria, because Gary Johnson's philosophy is we should pull troops out of everywhere except for, like, Haiti. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh, no, leave the troops in Haiti to help rebuild or humanitarian, all that stuff. And I agree with Gary Johnson to an extent, but when everybody says why there's problems here, this election all the way around was a mess. What year is this, Ted?
2018.
What year was the election, Ted?
2016.
For 2 years we've been going on, Trump and the Russians, Trump and the Russians, Trump and the Russians, okay? Even if it is 110% true, what can you do about it? Well, you can impeach Clinton, or not impeach Clinton. You can impeach Trump. Once you impeach Donald Trump, who's your president?
Mike Pence.
Right. So what does it matter?
It's not Hillary.
And then yes, it's not Hillary. And then you can impeach Pence, and you can impeach anyone you want, right? And nowhere in those 17 people is Hillary Clinton.
So how does it go if Mike Pence gets thrown out? What is it then? The Speaker of the House?
Yeah, which is Ryan, who's resigning.
Yeah.
And then it goes to the Speaker of the Senate or whatever. And then it keeps going.
But the third one is the Speaker of the House.
Yeah,
right?
it would be Paul Ryan. So the point of the story is that
and where does Alexander Haig lie in this in all of this? Does he come after Paul Ryan? Or?
If you're going to throw old names out there, I saw something in the news. You know how we bitch and moan about everything. Well, me, not so much you. Barbara Bush is in state right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And George Bush Sr. went out and went by her casket and was greeting people as they were like, we want to say goodbye to Barbara Bush. And
so he can walk?
No, in his wheelchair.
Oh.
They wheeled him out there, and he's like, thank you for coming to see my wife. And for a public viewing for a 90-year-old ex-president, I thought that was very respectful. You know what I mean?
No, no, wait a minute. Respectful on whose part? What?
Well, Bush's. His wife is in state. He could be like, I'm too sick to go out and
Yeah.
meet the public. You see what I'm saying? But no, he went out and he goes, "Oh no, thank you for coming to see my wife. Thank you for." They were married for, oh geez, let's see if I got this right.
70 years?
72 years.
Wow.
They got married when they were like 20. So she was like 19 and he was like 21 and 72 years.
I've heard many people say that they were like really nice people.
Oh yeah. And very rarely do you hear like you hear stories about George Bush Jr. about the cocaine and the alcohol and some other stuff. You don't hear stuff like that about Bush Sr. He was always, the greatest generation. I love my wife, blah, blah, blah. And even though they tried to manufacture some stuff about accidentally grabbing girls' butts when he was like 90, well, it's like, what can he do? You know what I mean? Even if he grabbed a girl's butt when he was 90, what's going to happen?
No, he's still a guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's not like he's going to jump on her. It's like, oh, well, that's the way he is. Keep your butt away from his hands, right? But that leads us to where we're going, okay? Donald Trump, and this.
If you don't want him grabbing your ass,
Yeah, move that ass over there. But this is where we're going, okay? The I gotta make sure I'm getting it right. Somebody is saying that, I think it was Comey, okay? He said that Donald Trump loved Russian hookers, okay? Now, let me be very clear. This is speaking of speech, right? Free speech for everybody. Donald Trump, should he be, and these are all questions for you. You ready?
Uh-oh.
Should Donald Trump be impeached for having an extramarital affair?
No.
No. Should he be impeached for having sex with Russian hookers?
No.
Should he be impeached for cheating on his first wife with a second wife?
No. Let me know if I'm getting all these right.
Yeah, so far you're 100%. Should he be impeached for cheating on his second wife with a third wife?
No.
Should he be impeached for seeing American hookers?
No.
Should he be impeached for Stormy Daniels and banging porn actresses?
No.
No. All of these people who are like, he's just like Clinton. You know what you should be impeached for? I'm going to make a list. You listening? Make a list. No minors. Okay? You get impeached for having sex with minors. Okay? To my knowledge, Trump did not do that. No rape. No Bill Cosby. You can't drug them and get them up on the Oval Office floor. Okay? You cannot use campaign funds to pay for prostitutes.
You can't?
Well, that's three. Minors? What's our list so far? Minors, rape, using campaign funds for prostitutes.
Using caffeine funds.
Right? Anything else? Donald Trump's having sex with a female horse? Well, that's very distasteful, and you probably shouldn't have voted for him. But none of these things are impeachable offenses. They're like, well, Clinton.
He got impeached for lying under oath.
He got impeached for lying under oath. But any school district in the nation, okay? Any school district in the nation, a teacher has sex with an intern, you know what happens? They are fired. Mm-hmm. It should be the same thing with the president. You are fired. And it'd be like, well, Monica Lewinsky was she was still an intern. Okay? Everything Donald Trump does is distasteful. There is a very clear line between distasteful and illegal. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
And so all this stuff about who he's having sex with, and some people are horrified. Some people are like, what are you going to do? You can't compare it to Clinton because these people... Now, don't get me wrong. Given another year or two, and maybe he is having sex with interns, then you have to impeach him anyhow. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm sure that's coming. Okay? But it goes back to, if you got to pay for it, you're probably not going to be able to get the 19-year-old intern in the office, right? So all of these attacks on Trump, they're attacking him because he's, what the British would say, he's a cad, right? He's a bad person, okay? But the mechanisms of the democracy do not allow you to impeach bad people. You have to break the law or circumvent or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. I was wiping my ass with the Constitution. Oh, you're impeached, right? Now, would you agree with me? Now, it doesn't work if we always agree with each other. But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
And me and you, we don't. On Beacon of Speech, we don't talk a lot about sex because we just don't, right? Usually we're talking about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame politics and stuff, right? But it's very dicey because when people like CNN, they're like, well, Stormy Daniels, right? Half of it is they just want the story to put Stormy Daniels' picture on CNN, so you click the site, you're like, I want to see that picture because she's hot, right? Or she's voluptuous or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever synonym, yeah, that you want to use, right? And so all this stuff is salacious. This is all tabloid-driven stuff. And all this stuff with Putin, because I just read an article today. Like I said, I'm no better, right? They said that Putin said that we have the most beautiful prostitutes in the whole world in Russia, right? And Donald Trump supposedly said, you sure do, right? Not illegal. You know what? Those Somali prostitutes, they're ugly, but you want the Ukrainian prostitutes, they're top of the line. No matter what type of prostitutes that you're describing, that you are free to say that, and Donald Trump is free to say that. You shouldn't say that, but Ted's laughing about Ukrainian hookers, but. It's not illegal. It's salacious. It's meant to make people look bad. Ted did not know we were talking about Ukrainian hookers today. I threw him a curve because we never talk about this stuff, right?
No.
And so that's why we had to kick the kids out. Okay? But to me, every single day, they're like, you don't understand. Trump got a golden shower. Yeah, you can do that. When that happened, he was not president. He was running for president. He is free to go have and.
Well, you know what's so funny is that it's generally the Democrats
Right.
who are trying to make Trump look bad, and it's like they'll never get it through their head that the people who support Trump don't care.
Right. And that's the whole thing. They don't, because he's trying to upset the apple cart and the liberal agenda and blah blah blah. And that's the whole thing that gets me is I'm trying to think of where I was going with the golden showers, right? That was before he was president. Okay? They're trying to make him look bad, and Trump is like saying that's not true. I'm a germaphobe. Well, he can lie, and he is obviously not a germaphobe. Ted, let's be honest, and I don't mean to get in your personal life, okay? We won't go with the sex part, okay? You're a little bit of a germaphobe, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
You are a germaphobe. Say you had $1 million. If you had I remember where I was going with this. Okay, I'm going to write down so I'm going to cover it up so you can't see. Okay? Say you had $1 million and you saw the most beautiful Russian prostitute there ever was, right? Would you let a Russian prostitute pee on you?
No.
Mostly because you are a germaphobe, right?
Right.
As the golden spray is coming down, okay, I feel the same as you, right? I have a beautiful wife and I'm not tempted to cheat and all that other fun stuff, right? But even if I didn't have a beautiful wife and all that other stuff, as the urine is raining down, all I can think about is, there's so many germs in there, I'm gonna die. You know what the chances are? You know how many STDs is in that liquid? Okay, would you say you feel close to the same?
Oh, yeah.
You would be like, this Russian prostitute has probably been halfway across Eastern Europe and back, no matter how hot she is. Okay? Now.
Yeah, but wasn't the thing that they said he didn't have her do it to him?
Right.
He had her do it on
Yeah.
a bed that...
yeah. No matter what way you slice it, as a germaphobe, you're like, oh my God. My head's going to explode just thinking about it. Okay? It's like, I think about it, and me and you have talked about this before. We talk about like skeevy things, and then I have to get up and leave and wash my hands because I'm like thinking about it. Okay, that's like how OCD I'm getting in my old age. Okay, well, if Trump is seeing Russian hookers, he is obviously not a germaphobe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he is free to lie to cover up his things because he's not lying under oath. You see what I'm saying? He is
Because
not.
I heard that about him a long time ago, that he was a germaphobe. This was
Right.
like back like in the 90s.
Right. And I'm telling you, if you are a true germaphobe,
And I
ahead.
almost wonder if that was floated by him to cover up like,
his affairs. Yes.
You know what I mean?
And that's where I'm going. Okay. I have a beautiful wife, right? Beautiful wife. A true germaphobe, I don't think could even have 3 wives. You know what I mean? After the first wife, you're like, women are so germy. And it's not just women, it's men too. You know, say you're homosexual. Yeah, if I was a homosexual, I think I'd be like, do you know what the chances are for HIV for homosexuals? And I would probably, even with my boyfriend, I'd have like 2 everything in my head goes germs, germ, right? And even in the profession that I'm in, right? You know what I do. We won't talk about it here. But every once in a while, I'll just be sitting there. I'm like, those kids are just like little germ factories right there. And
well, that is true though.
yeah. And so, not a day goes by where I don't think of germs, right? And so I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump is lying. The problem is, even if he's lying, okay, he is not lying under oath. They're not saying, there's no congressional hearings to say, did you have sex with Stormy Daniels? Okay? This is all salacious. He's like, I'm not having sex with anybody, right? Only my beautiful wife, Ivanka, who reminds me of dear old mom, or whatever his excuse is, right? And so I am 99% sure that you are right, that he just floated it out there to tell
And I'm
his
talking
wives.
years ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I'm a germaphobe. That's why I'm not having, crazy 4-ways,
I mean, that's just a theory that I have. I have nothing to back it up.
I think you're right, because I don't think we're going to use a bill, since we're talking about sex today, we're going to use the Bill Cosby analogy, okay? Bill Cosby was accused of raping 80 women, right? Even if he's like, those 40 women are lying. What about the other 40? Right? You know that some of them are telling the truth. So all these porn actresses and porn stars and prostitutes and stuff, even if some of them are lying, like, I had sex with Trump, and the lawyer's like, oh, God, another one. Here, let me write a check. $100,000. Here, shut up, right? $100,000 check, okay? And then you find out later, they're like, oh, she just used them for money, right? Well, they're not all like that. There had to have been, where there's smoke, there's got to be some fire. I'm not saying they're all true allegations. I'm saying some of them were, right? You can't beat the bushes and all these prostitutes fall out of the trees. Now, because they're prostitutes, some of them are like, well, me and Donald Trump stayed in the motel together, and I'm sure some of them were shakedowns, right? All I'm saying is, everything me and you have talked about for the last 15 minutes is all salacious. None of this eliminates him from being the president. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all it's doing is making him look bad. So what's your end game to make him look? His poll ratings are actually going up. Okay? And this week, you find out that he went behind the backs of the American people, and he started to negotiate a peace deal with North Korea. And you're like, well, that's good, right? We don't want to have war with North Korea. So all of these prostitution scandals, and like I said, I may be misspeaking it. One is a porn actress scandal versus a Russian prostitute scandal, and one may be true. One, you see what I'm saying? But none of that stops it from, is it a good idea to make peace with the North Koreans? Well, yeah, that's a good idea, right?
Yeah.
But, and this is where I'm going with this, everybody makes it seem like he should quit or he should be impeached for all of this. And all of this is just salacious. I know I keep saying salacious like 5 times. Salacious, salacious, salacious. It's all it is. And you already know I haven't voted for Trump. I'm yelling at the screen, you should have voted for Gary Johnson, right?
What are you talking to him?
Yeah, you should have voted for Gary Johnson. But you voted for Trump. And if re-election came and it was Trump versus Biden, you would probably vote for Trump again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I would not vote for Trump again. I would vote for whoever the libertarian. And if for some reason...
You wouldn't vote for Joe Biden?
No. No. Okay.
Why, do you think it's going to be Joe Biden that runs for?
I think it might be. I think they want Hillary to go away. Like today...
And do you think they're going to have a fight behind the gym or whatever?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Listen, I'm going to be very prejudiced here in a minute, so give me a second, okay? People want Hillary to go away. And I just read the article just today, okay? I can't remember where the source was, but I read it on the Drudge Report, so I don't remember what the link went to. Hillary Clinton came out today, 2 years past the election, and she's like, I knew they wouldn't let me win. It's like, please shut up. Please stop talking. You lost because of the election. She's like, the Russians and Comey and blah, blah. You lost because people did not like you. And you are a bitch. Okay? Even I, who did not like Trump, and I begged people in 2015, please, for the love of God, do not vote for Trump. Right? I did not vote for Hillary Clinton because I think she has had as many people killed as Putin. Okay? And if I say it out loud, you know who ends up dead? Next thing you know, it's the Ted Coley speaking a speech. And Ted Coley's like, I'm sorry, I was confused. I meant to say I would vote for for Hillary Clinton instead of Donald Trump. And you would not find my body. Right? Or it'd be a mysterious suicide, like, Fred's not left-handed.
Yeah, Vince Foster.
Yeah, Vince Foster.
Fred Foster.
Fred Foster. That's where that would be going.
And he shot himself in the head, and the gun was like 30 yards from his head.
He shot himself in he used his offhand. When I was 22
He shot
years
himself
old.
in the head twice.
Yeah, one shot, then the other one. No, and that's the funny thing. When I was 22 years old, I was playing indoor soccer, and we didn't have a goalie, right? And they said, well, somebody has to be goalie. And nobody would do it. They also, I'm not going to be goalie. I'm not going to be goalie, right? And they said, Fred, you're the coach. You had. I'm like, I can't be goalie. I suck. And I remember they came down and the guy shot it as hard as he could right at my chest, right? And I went to catch it and I caught it wrong, right? And I jammed my thumb and I can't bend my thumb. Even today, 50 years old, thumb's still straight, right?
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's as far as you can bend it?
Yeah, that's basically all it moves, right? See this one, how it's straight? This one's crooked?
No, go like...
Oh, I could go like that, but this one barely moves. It goes like only a few degrees.
Wow.
So the point is that they'd be like, oh, you mean Fred's dislocated thumb? I want to know. He used all his strength to pull that trigger and to hold the gun. That's another reason I don't like guns, because I can't hold them that good because of my thumb. Okay? And Ted's laughing.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So the point of the story is...
When did that happen?
Oh, jeez, I was like 22 years old. I was playing indoor soccer.
Wow.
And I remember I heard a pop, and they're like, you should go doctor. I'm like, well, we can't finish the game if there's no goalie. And I was like swatting him with my left hand. Right? And I'm a horrible goalie.
That's dedication.
Every once in a while, I play goalie, and it's horrible. Okay, don't be a goalie. You need a special breed up here to be a goalie. Okay? But anyhow... Enough about soccer. Back to prostitutes. All of this, it moves newspapers. It's salacious. It's people clicking on articles, and they're like, "Well, of course he's got to be friends with Putin because Putin is the one who set him up with the lots of guys are horrible guys, and they set their buddies up with prostitutes. That doesn't mean that it has anything to do with the 2016 election. I mean, we're still going to be talking about the 2016 election in 2020. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to circle back around, okay? We're going to circle back around. Joe Biden, right? He wants to run in 2020. And this is where I'm prejudiced, okay? Joe Biden will be 80 years old, okay? Now, my grandfather, his girlfriend was, let me see if I got this right. She was 84 years old, right? She was driving down the street in her big giant Cadillac, okay? And she drove, Steve, his old business, the lawn care business.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather's girlfriend drove straight up the truck with the lawn care equipment because the tracks were down,
Mm-hmm.
and she thought it was the road. Just drove right up and parked right there on the lawn care truck. Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the cops came and they're like, and she's confused. She's like, "What happened?" Okay. And they're like, "We're taking away your license." She's like, "Why? Why are you taking away my license?" Okay. And this is why I believe, and this may come back to haunt me one day. Once you hit 80, you are done. Okay. Even the sharpest 80-year-old in the world cannot run a country.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, they have these guys in Africa. They're 92 years
So
old.
your cutoff is 80.
80. Once you're 80, you cannot be president anymore. There should be a law that says you cannot be elected younger than 35, which there is. It's in the Constitution. And you cannot be elected past 80. Okay? And, all those people are like, "Oh, Fred, you're ageist." People were talking about Reagan, how they hit a lot of his
Yeah.
Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or whatever he had.
Yeah.
They hit a lot of that in his second term. And it's just the way it is. And I'm not saying all old people are like, my grandfather's girlfriend. But like I said, she did it, and then she's like all incorrigible, like, "Well, why is the police hassling me?" Right? Joe Biden at the next election will be 80. And even if he is in 100% tip-top perfect health, okay, his time has come and gone. Because you get in the third year and he's like, "Oh, I can't sleep and I can't remember. What country was that again?" They're like, "That was Canada." He's like, "Canada!"
I realize that what might have played a part in it, in his decision not to run, was his son
Yeah,
died. But last time would have been the time for him to run.
absolutely. Last time was the exact...
I mean, it was the perfect lead-in, being, Obama's vice president. That's the perfect...
And, again, going back to Hillary's a horrible person, okay, do you know part of the reason, me and you talked about this on Beacon of Speech, do you remember one of the reasons Joe Biden did not run?
Well, like I said, because of his son.
More complex than his son.
And I think they all... That's just me speculating, because I think his son told him before he died, "You should run for president."
Exactly, but his son did not know what was going on. Okay? Now, you ready?
What?
You're going to get a kick out of this, and I might have to write it down to keep it clear. The son who died, he was Beau Biden, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Beau Biden. And I got to remember if I am doing this right or not, okay? Beau Biden's on his deathbed with pancreatic cancer or whatever the hell he had, right? Stroke, whatever, right? He leans over to Dad. "Dad, I love you. Please run. You run this country beautiful. Okay? I love you." And the dad's like tearing up. He's like, "Oh, my son, right? My son, I'm going to run." Okay? And Beau Biden passes. Okay? Now, Beau Biden's on his deathbed.
Now, did Beau Biden think he was talking to Trump or
Oh,
something?
no. It's worse than that. Worse than that. Beau Biden's on his deathbed. He's waiting to die. Right? What he does not know is after he dies, Hillary Clinton supporters, including Hillary Clinton, went up to Joe Biden. Said, "Listen, Joe, we're really sorry about your son. If you run, we just want you to know that I cannot control my supporters." And Joe Biden's like, "What do you mean you can't control your supporters?" And Hillary Clinton or her representatives said, "We know about your children." He's like, "Yeah, my son died, and that's why I'm running," right? Hillary Clinton said, No, we know about your other son." And then Joe Biden's face got white as a ghost, says, "I'm not going to run." Okay?
Wait a minute. About your other son.
Yeah.
He had two sons, right?
Right. Beau Biden had a beautiful wife, and I don't remember her name. Okay, we'll just call her...
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, now you got it.
Wait a minute. Did the other son have an affair with?
Right. So the wife of Beau Biden, after her husband, Beau Biden, died, she went after
Okay.
Joe Biden's other son, broke up their marriage, And so Beau Biden's widow married Joe Biden's other son.
Oh my God, they got married?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And then the other son took his wife and said, see that curb? Out you go. Out to the curb.
Wow.
Now, the wife who got divorced, right? The widow's now with the other son, right? The one who got divorced came back and said, listen, I'm not going to put up with all this getting kicked out of the bed by these horrible Biden people. They're all a bunch of scumbags except for Beau. He was the only good one out of all of them. And he's dead, right? She goes, you know what my husband did? He was a womanizer. He was on drugs. Joe had to hide his drug habit for years. And so Hillary Clinton is telling all this to Joe Biden, right? And Joe Biden, he's like, but my son Beau died. I love my son Beau, right? And Hillary's like, I got whatever my supporters do, I can't help what they do. And then after that happened, it all hit the tabloids because it's, again, back to, it's very salacious. Do you want to expose your family to that when you are running? Now, Donald Trump has proven, you can embarrass me all you want. I'm still the president. You guys can all suck eggs. Joe Biden is like, I can't expose the rest of my family to this. This is all horrible. And then Hillary Clinton, again, Hillary Clinton would be like, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But her people leaked the story to the tabloids to make sure he didn't get in the race. Again, by all accounts, Joe Biden's a good guy. And by all accounts, Beau Biden was a great guy. But some of the other Bidens were real dicey individuals. You see, not everybody's perfect. Everybody's not the Cleavers or the Huxtables or whatever. And then you go back to the Huxtables,
Yeah,
you're like, oh, holy cow,
Even
that was a mess in itself. But yeah.
But aren't the Clintons amazing, though?
Oh yeah, well, and that's the whole thing. Every time Hillary opens her mouth, it is literally a contradiction of something else. She's like, you know what? Donald Trump is horrible for sleeping with all those women. Oh my God, you don't understand. Your husband was paid. You know what? We're not talking about my husband, right? At some point, the 2016 election were two horrible, deplorable people. And the more I hear, and like Trump, even though he's the winner, he's like, you ever hear in sports about being a poor winner? Like you win and then you win big and then you don't shake the other guy's hands. You're like, suck it, we beat you, you suck. Right? Donald Trump is that guy. He won. He's like, I want to run again so I can beat her by more. He is not gracious in victory either. They're all horrible people. The country is run by horrible people. Well, I know you're laughing. But like I said, it doesn't have anything to do with whether he can make a peace treaty with North Korea. And again, if Putin has all this dirt on Trump, why is he going out bombing Syria? You see what I'm saying? He's like, if he's owned by Trump, maybe he's trying to cover up. Well, now you're really going into the deep conspiracy theories.
Did you hear that latest thing? I don't know how to describe it, but this was from like 34 years ago that Trump called a reporter and pretended to be somebody else arguing why he should be on the Forbes. Did you hear that? Did you hear that story?
No.
I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but
Number one, I believe it. Okay? Number one, I believe it 100%. Okay?
saying but Donald Trump should be on the Forbes top 100 list because he's worth this much, and he's pretending to be somebody else. I don't know if that's true or not, but if that is, that just shows you that he runs circles around everybody.
Yeah. And it shows, again, that's another level.
I mean, don't you think that's funny if it is true?
It's hysterical. That is a whole nother level. Okay?
See, and they get so outraged, they don't see the humor in that.
Yeah.
If it is true. It might not even be true.
Well, the thing is, me and you, we take liberties because we make no money. All right? Would you say that we're fairly poor?
Mm-hmm.
There's people more poor, but we're like lower middle class, me and you. Okay? We're not dirt poor, but we're not really middle class. We're about lower middle class. Right? So we could take some liberties and we can laugh and we can throw things out. And we can joke around. Nobody cares, right? Donald Trump says things and he's just like, whatever's on his mind. He's like, oh, look, there's a dog. Oh, wouldn't it be crazy if that dog went over and he jumped in a rocket ship and he shot off to the moon, and then he's like, this is the dog star. And he says insane things like that, like there's no filter from his brain to his mouth, right? Now, me and you say that, and there's no repercussions, right? I could say crazy things. Oh, you wouldn't believe what I'm saying today. Oh, the earth is flat. Earth is flat. No, it's not flat. It's square. It's square.
See, but the thing is that wouldn't it be great to have a friend like Donald Trump?
Oh, yeah. We're going to go to where we used to work, okay? Me and Ted used to work together. We don't work anymore. They got rid of me.
I think I know who you're going to mention.
And, yeah, we'll mention him because he's not going to watch it. We had a friend named Justin, okay? And he lied all the time. Constantly. Everything out of his mouth was a lie, okay? And since we're talking about sex, we never do, I would be putting boxes away, putting boxes away, right? And Ted, he would be double checking his work. Ted triple checks his work, right? And then Justin would come running in the door. Hey, I was just thinking, would you rather have sex with a girl with no legs or no arms? And tell me why. And don't give me, it doesn't matter. You have to pick one. There's two girls, you have to pick one, and one of them has no arms, and one of them has no legs. Which one are you having sex with, right? Do you remember him doing stuff like that? Donald Trump is Justin. You know what I mean? It's like, number one, I have not given that any thought whatsoever, and you want me to give you an answer. Okay? And number two, I don't think this is ever going to come to fruition. There's not going to be a real world scenario, right? Say like you come to a red light and say you're taking a driving test, right? And they're saying, someone's crossing the crosswalk and the light turns red. What do you do, right? Well, you could come across that during your travels, right? When are you ever going to come up with the no woman legs or arms scenario ever, right? It's not going to happen. And what Justin, you have to tell me. Tell me now. And that's how Donald Trump is. He you hear these interviews and you hear those interviews with Howard Stern, right? And Howard Stern, he'd be talking and even Donald Trump would say, he'd be like, well, I can't run for president because all the women I've been with and, all the stories and, you remember that. And somehow he ran for president. Because when he ran for the Green Party, everybody's like, well, he ain't going to win. Right? And then once he started to gain ground, then all of a sudden, well, you can't vote for him because he cheated on his second wife as his third wife. Well, yeah, we know. It's in Wikipedia. Right? It's common knowledge. The guy's been in the public eye for 30 years, but he is like that friend you said. Mm-hmm. Everybody says Donald Trump is charismatic. You never hear anybody say, I met Donald Trump and he was boring, right? Even if he's well, go ahead.
Nah, he's hilarious.
Yeah. And he's, telling funny jokes and, me and you were talking before we came on.
I just think of him and I laugh.
Oh, yeah.
And not laugh in a disrespectful way.
Not laughing at him.
He's funny.
Like, hey, let's hang out with Donald. Yeah. Donald's going to tell us a crazy... Oh, Ted, I got to tell you, we were in Qatar and we were with all these Arab sheiks. And then there was these ladies who came in and they're doing this crazy dance with the food. And you'd be like, Donald Trump's the funniest guy in the world. And half the stuff that's coming out of his mouth is either exaggeration or a lie, but you don't care. You're like, he's a nice guy. He's great to be around. Right? But now when you're president, there's gravity to your words. And when you say Trump lies, well, yeah, he lies, but some of it is like stories. You know what I mean? Like I was on the Howard Stern show, and Howard Stern he just sat there like a lump, and I was telling him funny stories, and Howard Stern, it goes back to charisma. Mm-hmm. And part of the things he got elected for was charisma. People were sick of politicians saying, I'm going to evaluate what the situation is and we'll weigh the situation. And in truth, that the politician was going to do whoever put the most money in his hands. Whereas Donald Trump's like, well, I'm not like that because I got shit ton of money, and
Mhm.
I don't care what you know. But again, there's good and bad with it. And like I said, I still don't think Donald Trump's doing that great a job, but he is entertaining. Okay? And this whole thing with the Russians, everybody's like, well, he should be impeached. I'm like, for what? For talking to Russians? It's the same thing. You hate the Mexicans. What would happen if he hated Putin and he loved Mexico? You know what I'm saying?
See, and one thing, whatever president comes after Donald Trump, it's going to be very boring.
Oh yeah.
You know, no matter who it is.
And the ratings for Fox News through the roof, right? Ratings for people who love Donald Trump is through the roof. People who hate Donald Trump, MSNBC, CNN, their ratings are through the roof because they won't have him. When they go, all their ratings are going to go down when they get the next president.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when it's Trump versus Oprah? It's like, oh my God. And people love Oprah, but even when Oprah was on her show, right? I remember Married with Children.
I'm just like picturing those debates.
Oh my God. I remember, you ever watch Married with Children?
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that today. Married with Children.
I love that show. Married with Children was making fun of Oprah before it was popular to make fun of Oprah. And when they would make fun of Oprah, they'd be like, Married with Children's horrible, right? How could they make fun of Oprah? Oprah's beloved. And I'm like, Oprah's not beloved. Oprah's basically a crack addict that scammed her way up to a TV show, okay?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just thinking about Married with Children today.
But again, I make fun of Oprah being a crack addict. Oprah would be crying. She was like, I was young and the crack was there and it was Chicago and blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure Donald Trump has done a ton of illegal drugs. Honestly, off the record. We're off the record now, okay? Off the record. Do you think Donald Trump has done drugs?
I honestly don't know.
Donald Trump swears that he has never touched a drop of alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, I believe him.
Yeah, I believe that.
Because people talk around the truth all the time. Okay? And what is drugs? Okay? I don't drink. Okay? And you could be like, well, Fred, you drink Coca-Cola. Every episode you drink, you have caffeine right there. And even though you don't smoke, caffeine isn't. Okay, yes, I drink caffeine. But when Donald Trump says he doesn't drink alcohol, I think he's covering for, cocaine? Oh, yeah, I did cocaine, but that doesn't count because in the 80s, everybody did cocaine. And the germaphobe thing doesn't work. You know what I mean? There's a guy on local radio, I won't say his name because I don't want to misparaphrase it, right? But he says, I'm going to write it down and I'll show you the name.
It's not Trevisano, is it?
No, not Trevisano. This guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, they talk about drugs on his show, and he goes, listen, in the 80s, everybody did cocaine. Well, that's not true. I didn't do cocaine. And so, like, when Trump talks and he says, I never drank a drop, you assume he didn't do the harder drugs. You know what I mean? And because he's a germaphobe, he's not shooting heroin. But you're going to tell me that Donald Trump, billionaire, when he was rolling with prostitutes and porn stars, that he wasn't doing cocaine with them. You see what I'm saying? That let's say you're in the motel room and you're with a porn actress, okay? 10 years ago, okay? And you're with a porn star, and they're all addicted to cocaine, more or less, right? Porn star pulls out cocaine. Donald has some cocaine. And he's like, oh, no. I draw the line right between prostitution and illicit drugs. Prostitution, okay. Cocaine, no. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even the rumors were dogging W. Bush. Did you do cocaine? I'm not here to talk about whether I did cocaine or not.
And I've even heard them say that Clinton might have done it too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Clinton, we're talking, again, we almost do
I'm talking about Bill.
Yeah, we do almost no, like I said, I'm throwing you a curveball because we don't do very many sex shows, right?
Uh-huh.
Bill Clinton, I'm going to aim this way. I guarantee you Bill Clinton was doing it with the hookers and just, like piles of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm back. But maybe Donald Trump is telling the truth. I just find it hard to believe because, in his mind, he's like, well, if I tell people I don't drink alcohol, they just assume I don't do the worst drugs. You know what I mean? People aren't like, okay, I got Donald Trump for an interview. Donald Trump, you ever do PCP? No. You ever do meth? No. Cocaine? Amphetamines? Have you ever snorted gasoline? You're going down the list, and you remember how we used to talk about our old boss, and he'd be like, "That's not true," but you were talking about the general idea. When we talked about how much people made, and be like, "You don't know what you're talking about," and you're like, "Well, if you don't pin somebody down, like Donald Trump, well." I never said I didn't do, whippets. Okay, I might have done that. But, So has anybody ever gone up to him with a laundry list of drugs and said, have you ever done this? And then strap him to a lie detector because he'd be lying. He'd be like, oh no, never did that, never did that, never did that. And then you hear the lie detector in the background. Bzz, 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 bzz. But even if he did a boatload of drugs, a boatload, it still doesn't mean he can't be president because according to the Constitution, you just got to be 35, American citizen, blah, blah, blah. And when you are, some people would say, well, Fred, he was with a prostitute. He should be impeached for prostitution. Prostitution's against the law in America, right?
Yeah.
You know what else is against the law in America?
Well, illegal drugs.
Speeding. Okay. I think I was doing 80 and a 55 one time.
One time.
Bitch. Every time. I have a lead foot. Okay. Failure to control. I got that when I was younger.
Failure to control myself.
Yeah, failure to control my vehicle. I got in like 8 accidents when I was younger, and I got like 20 speeding tickets in my life. Okay. I'm doing 50 and a 25 and all this other crap, okay? Lots of speeding tickets, okay? No serious felonies, but lots and lots of speeding tickets since I was 18, okay? Now, they say, well, Fred, you broke the law 20 times, okay? Well, speeding tickets, it's speeding tickets. And they're like, oh, well, you know what? You should lose your job because you got speeding tickets. Well, why should I lose my job for speeding tickets, right? I can only, for my employer, there's a rule that if I get and it's this employer and last employer, if you get so many speeding tickets, you don't have a job anymore. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with Donald Trump. Like a prostitution thing is like a speeding ticket to him because at the end of the day, there's nothing in the job description that says you can, just like you can't speed, you can't bang a prostitute. You see what I'm saying? And he would come back and say, well, that was 2011. But let me ask you a question. I'm going to be dead serious with you. Okay, you're a man, correct, Ted? Mm-hmm. You're a man. I'm a man. Okay. Donald Trump, all these prostitution stories have been all the way back to 1990, right? So in 1990, Donald Trump was probably 40 years old or so, right? And now he's about 70, right?
Yeah.
So for 30 years, he's been banging prostitutes. Okay. Do you think after 30 years he became president? He's like, now that I'm president, I'm done with prostitutes. I was only doing those prostitutes when I was a young man. That was a young man's game. You were 67. Young man's game. Young man's game. Banging prostitutes. Right? It's the same thing. I don't believe for a second that he stopped. You know what I mean? Just like, they used to tell stories about Bill Clinton. Whenever Hillary turned, he was grabbing a Big Mac, right? And there's certain things he's like, well, I've eaten Big Macs my whole life, and why would I stop? It's the same thing with Donald Trump, just a bigger, grander, more horrible scale. If I was president, I would still be speeding. The Secret Service would be like, listen, Fred, you don't have to drive. I'm like, no, I'm driving. Hit the gas, take off. And it'd be like, you're 50, you shouldn't be driving like that. I'd be like, I'm be like my grandfather. Okay, he's in his 90s, right? They they took away his girlfriend's license. He's like, I'll drive over and I'll drive her around, and he's still cussing, Galloway, God damn it, driving. He's speeding. I'm gonna be my grandfather, be tearing through stop signs and stuff.
Now, how old was he when he stopped driving? Or is he still driving?
No. He was, 90.
Wow.
But they didn't take away his license. He had his license, and then he went to the nursing home. And then once he was at the nursing home, they sold his car. So when he still had his license, they never took it away.
Wow.
And then when he went to renew, they're like, well, why would you renew? Number one, you don't have a car. Number two, you're in a nursing home. And he's like, okay. He's all defeated. He still wanted to run people over. Okay, he still wanted to put his foot on the gas. See, you didn't know this is where we were going today, did you?
No, I had no idea.
Well, no, it just bothers me because people who love Trump says he more or less he could do whatever he wants. What was it in the primaries where he said he could shoot somebody and still get elected, right? He more or less is right, okay? And the people who hate Trump are like, you know what? Donald Trump has 8 speeding tickets and Fred Hunt has 4. They both should lose their life. You see what I'm saying? And Donald Trump, you should lose your job. Fred Hunt, you should lose your job. You both don't have jobs because you can't keep your foot off the gas. Okay? All prostitution is a higher level of, people will be like, well, it's a felony. And it's like, well, you know what? Who's it hurting? It hurts the woman, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and we don't want to get into the whole argument of whether prostitution should be legal.
Now, why do you think, if it is true, I don't know if it is true, but why do you think he goes for prostitutes? If he could get, probably almost any woman.
I think that Donald Trump wants...
So that they won't say anything? Or?
Yes, I think he wants the most beautiful woman, and then that he can pay for, and then he's like, out you go, right? You got your money. This was a business deal. This is a contract. I do my business, and then you leave. Whereas if he had an affair, the girl, he'd probably be like, that girl's going to blackmail me for half my money. And every time I get divorced, I lose half my money. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know if any of it's true, but I'm just saying if it is true.
I think part of it is I would rather, let's just say Trump's worth $1 billion, just to argue, right? I think Trump's like, I will pay you $1,000 for one night, and then you leave.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'm going to have an affair with this one woman, and then at some point she's going to blackmail me for $1 million and threaten my marriage. You see what I'm saying? A more of a honor among thieves type thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying presidents should be doing this. I'm just saying that you cannot impeach him for distasteful things, right? And again, it goes back to, you think at 70, there would be a filter between his brain and his mouth. And because he lives in America, he's like, well, why do I have a filter? I have a ton of money. I just do what I want, right? Now, that's a whole different show, whether you can do whatever you want if you got a ton of money. You got a ton of money, I'm going to run for president and bang hookers, and I'm going to... I'm a billionaire, and you all can suck eggs, and I'll do whatever the hell I want. And you're like, oh, he's right. He's protected by the Constitution. How did he get elected? You could go and argue about that. I'm just saying now that he is elected, there's a difference between high crimes and misdemeanors.
Yeah.
Go vote in the year 2020 for, you know who you do not. For God's sake, don't vote for Donald Trump again. I do not want to have the sex talk on Vegan a speech again. Like I said, we try to stay out of this, okay? But all of this stuff, like, I cannot go one day, like for the last month. Trump's doing this, Trump's doing that, Trump's doing this, Trump's doing that.
I wish that he could be president for longer than 8 years.
Oh, Ted, don't get started.
I wish he could be like FDR.
We're going to go there. Well, me and you are going to go there. Okay? Last week, I was reading my news stories, right?
Because, like I
And-
said, think if nothing else, even if you don't like him, think how boring it's going to be when he's not there.
Gary Johnson had a vice president, and I believe his vice presidential running mate was Bill Wayne. Is that correct? He was the governor of Massachusetts.
It was something like that. I don't know if that's right, but it was close.
But
I
there is a chance that Gary Johnson is going to go away, okay? And Bill Wayne is going to WAIN, I think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. I have to look it up.
maybe that is right. I don't know.
The point is I don't think Gary Johnson is going to run in 2020. And his running mate had some serious questions, and I think he just assumes he's going to run Libertarian 2020. I have to do my research on this guy, so I don't know who I'm voting for in 2020. You see what I'm saying? So I can't come out and say vote Libertarian because it depends on who's running, right? Maybe I might want to go Green. Maybe I might want to go constitutional law or whatever.
I have a serious question for you. Do you like Rand Paul?
Yeah, he's all right. But okay.
I kind of thought maybe just from things that he said that he might be somebody who's kind of up your alley.
I like Rand Paul. Okay. But okay. Here's let me write this down and make sure I got it right. Rand Paul. Who is Rand Paul's father?
Ron Paul.
Ron Paul. Okay. As a libertarian, I love Ron Paul.
And you know who else loves Ron Paul?
Who?
Joey G.
Joey G. I loved Ron Paul. Okay. Ron Paul got the short shift. Okay. Would I vote for Ron Paul today? Absolutely not, because Ron Paul is what? 85?
Yeah, he's old.
He passes the Fred limit. 80 or over, off you go. You go right off into the sunset and have a good time. Okay? Rand Paul keeps trying to say, I am a libertarian.
So basically what you would do like what the Native Americans used to do, like with anybody over 80, just put them
Yep,
on
out you go.
We
got old Yeller or old Silver, whatever the horse's name is, and the horse is coughing. It's coughing dust, and it's like pooping as it walks. And you put the 80-year-old on top of the horse, and you slap the horse's butt, and off they go into the wilderness. Okay, that is what happens when it comes to politics. Okay, off you go.
Did the Native Americans really used to do that?
Oh,
they would put like their old people like on a ice thing and just like.
I hope they didn't, but I have heard that they did. But again, that's 500 years ago. I hope they didn't do it. But let's go. Let's step away from that because that's even more depressing.
Now, didn't you say that they should have done that with a lady we used to work with?
Oh yeah, yeah. Out you go. The thing that bothered me about her the most, we'll circle back around to Rand Paul. The thing that bothered me about her the most is that she would talk about what a great company she worked for, and then when the same company that we would bitch about would treat her like garbage, she's like, "This is so shocking." I'm like, "It's so shocking they treat you like us?" Yeah, right. Rand Paul says, I want to be a libertarian and I want to change the world from inside the Republican Party. Okay?
Who says this?
Rand Paul.
Okay.
And again, I'm paraphrasing. So to me, Rand Paul is a little, he's not his dad. Like Ron Paul's like, we're going to change the world. And Rand Paul is like, we're going to change the world as Republicans and we're going to have a big time. I'm like, yeah, not really. So, but if it came down to, are you going to vote for Biden, Trump, or Paul? Say Paul runs third party, I'd vote for Paul. Okay, I don't know if I can vote for the other guy. And again, there's a lot of Democrats I wouldn't vote for.
What about Bernie Sanders?
Oh, I'm not voting. You cannot vote for a socialist. And I keep, on my libertarian websites, it comes up all the time. They said socialism has killed 100 million people in the last 100 years. You know, just because, you know, nobody wants to work. You know, everybody wants to eat, nobody wants to work. And what would where we used to work, me and you, right? If they had socialism where we used to work, and they said everybody works and everybody gets fed, what do you think would happen? Is socialism at our old work?
No, it wouldn't work.
No, they would all work as hard as the Amigos, right? And then we wouldn't make any money, and then we would all starve. And then the Amigos would say, "Why are we starving? You need to work harder." Right? Just like our former boss is like, "Why are they treating me bad? They're treating you like they treat everybody." Well, that's bad, and then they're like shocked. So, all right, I think the kids are waiting to come back down, so we'll shut it down for today. We'll skip this topic. We'll keep this topic. Our song of the day is by a band called Stormtroopers of Death. It's called F the Middle East. Okay, we love the Stormtroopers of Death. Ted, do you want to say anything else before we tie up this week in a speech?
Let's see. I always think of a good song for Song of the Day, and then by the time we do the show, I forget it.